Welcome, everyone. So, first of all, I just want to say welcome and thank you to all of you because you are so important to the success of the Schweickart Prize, and we're really excited to have you as ambassadors. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the prize and the team. Next slide, Colleen. So, we are really excited to launch the Schweickart Prize. We launched it on Asteroid Day this year, and I want you to meet the team that's going to be the most involved with the prize. So first we have Rusty Schweickart, Apollo 9 astronaut, first chair of the Energy Commission, the creator of the Association of Space Explorers, that you may know very well. Um, and we have Randy Schweickart, who is one of Rusty's sons and the chair of the Schweickart Prize, and myself, who is going to be the Schweickart Prize manager and be here along the way to answer any questions you may have about the prize. So, Colleen, if you go to the next slide, I will talk a little bit about what we're trying to do here. So, Rusty's passion and legacy has been about protecting the planet from asteroid impact. And this prize is to inspire future leaders in this niche area called planetary defense. So we're trying to incentivize students to go into this field and to present innovative ideas related to planetary defense. So the way we're rewarding the innovation, the new ideas is through a prize. Every year, we're going to have a $10,000 cash prize accompanied by this beautiful physical prize, which has an authenticated meteorite on it and a global exposure campaign for the winner. We will make sure that we have an individual that gets the cash prize. It will not be directly for the university. And we will make sure that there's a stipend for the university to create a celebration, a party for the student who wins the prize. Over to you, Randy, to talk more about the prize. Can you go to the next slide?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I want to personally thank all of you who have joined, as well as those who will hear the recording. As Rachel said, it is so crucial that we have you on board and helping us move forward with the Schweickart Prize program. This webinar is part of a two-part series which we executed on Tuesday and today to reach out to those who could join and those who obviously hear on the recording to attempt to build out our network. Our ambassador network is crucial in making sure that we can find, again, the key word, find the appropriate students, the prospective students who could win the Schweickart Prize. And our outreach ambassadors, as we call you, are one of the most important parts of that. We see two critical ways that the functions that the outreach ambassadors perform. The first one is, in fact, outreach by providing information to prospective graduate students. Many of you, if not all of you, have relationships with universities. And so getting information, again, hopefully you have been provided with the one pager and some prospective email usage to contact the students. And that one way is just to have information sent to those universities or programs, institutes. The other is that through your academic and or professional affiliations and networks, that you already are familiar with particular graduate students or particular programs in planetary defense related fields. And so we are very much hoping that you can specifically target those particular programs or students to ensure that they know about the prize and then get them to apply as appropriate. The second function that we are expecting our outreach ambassadors to perform is that once particular students have decided that they would like to apply, that you serve in an advising role to these applicants to make sure that they get their questions answered about the process and about the application materials. we'll go into those application materials here in pretty good detail in a little bit. But before that, I'll hand off to Rusty, to Dad, to talk about the proposals that we're interested in.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, the question obviously comes up. What is it that we're looking for in a proposal to win this prize? And what we're really looking for, and I hope that we make this very clear, we're looking for people to come forward with ideas and concepts and things of that kind, proposed thoughts and things that ought to be done to improve our current planetary defense capability. That's what we want to do. Of course, the people who get into this will, in terms of their own leadership, provide that, but we're also interested in them coming forward with innovative and creative ideas about what would improve planetary defense. So that takes care basically of the first and second bullets here. I guess in the second bullet, what I tried to point out there is that while there are many technical components to planetary defense, there are also socio-political, geopolitical, legal, and other components to the overall planetary defense challenge, which we also want to facilitate and incentivize through the issuance or the awarding of the prize. That's going to probably be a little more emphasized in future years because it depends upon, or let me say it is clearly illustrated in some information which we will be making available, which is not readily available now, namely risk corridors. That is the corridor where an asteroid would hit, it's going to hit the planet. That raises all kinds of non-technical issues, evacuation, all sorts of things. But that's probably going to be more in future years. But there are both technical and non-technical components or ideas that we're looking for to advance the overall field. So one of the things that we've done on the website is to present, a set of examples of the kinds of things that we're really looking for. It's a little bit easier to illustrate by example than it is to spell out in words the sorts of things that would be interesting to us in terms of proposals for the award. And that's the particular page on the website that you see a link to there. We've recently split. There were actually two components to that page. One was examples, and the other was a set of URLs, resources for those who are not all that familiar with planetary defense. If you want to go beyond the current capability, you want to know what the current capability really is. So there are a bunch of resources, JPL, European Space Agency, many other places, including the Asteroid Institute and the work that B612 itself has done. But there are a lot of resources that are also called out. So please access that and have the students that might be interested take a look at those resources. And then in the future, we'll be providing additional updates, and we're going to put out a newsletter, which will also include any additional ideas or thoughts or clarifications of what it is we're looking for. So with that, I'll turn it back to Randy. Next slide.
This slide gets into the logistics of the Schweickart Prize process, both the timeline as well as the applications, the two-part application process. So a pretty simple timeline right now. The preliminary applications we're looking for now. We would like to see these come in as soon as possible. The final application, which is the primary one that will be judged, we're looking for by February 15th, 2024. That day may extend. It will depend upon the number of applications that we've received by that time, especially in this first year. we expect that it's going to take some time to get notification out and get the applications completed. So we will assess that soon after February 15th, whether we will extend that. But nonetheless, the current deadline is the 15th of February. And then the award announcement will happen on Asteroid Day, that is June 30th of next year. The application process is a two-part process. The first, which we're calling the preliminary application, is really to establish legitimacy of the candidate. And in this case, we're looking for contact information, the university that they are affiliated with. We're also expecting to do this in parallel with an advocate. And so we're looking for the advocate's name and address as well as a letter of recommendation from this advocate. We're also looking, obviously, for degrees and the current degree program they're in, as well as a PD-related field, either that they're in or they plan to propose about. The proof of work is just a reference list of papers or projects that they have completed, as well as a nominee statement where they're stating why they feel they should be included in the selection process. This would be followed by a final application. And to be clear, we expect to provide a letter of acknowledgement and acceptance to move on to the final application once we've received the preliminary application. We have a thumbnail attempt at a timeline within 5 to 10 business days of receipt of the preliminary application. We would get this response out to the candidate. That would tell them to move on and please submit the final application. The final application consists of 2 letters of recommendation. It's important to understand that one of these we would like to be focused on the subject matter of the proposal as opposed to just advocating for the candidate themselves. So this is the chance for someone who is an expert in the field, hopefully, to provide some acknowledgement that the idea that's being provided is in fact substantial and will advance the field of planetary defense. It also includes a career aspiration statement. Basically, we're looking for leaders in the field, and this would help us understand that the person is planning on being in the field and may, in fact, help lead the field into the future. The core of the application, and which will be mostly judged, is based upon the planetary defense proposal itself, of which Rusty has provided some examples. And again, you can go to the website to see those in more detail. But that's the core of what the application is and what will be judged. And then rounding that out with CV or resume or the academic transcript from the candidate as well. I will say that we are allowing there to be submitted as teams. We would have a leader identified, but that is also appropriate for submittals. With that, I will hand back over to Rachel.
Thank you, Randy. So one thing that we haven't talked about yet is everyone who has made this prize possible for us. And so we wanted to thank, our dear sponsors who have made this prize a reality for us. So Anusha Ansari, the Barringer Creator Company, the B612 Foundation, Future Venture, Geoffrey Nutkin, Jerviston Family Foundation, the Meteor Creator, Randy Schweickart and Michelle Hang, Rusty B. Schweickart, and Joan Keys are all the people who have made this possible today. And so we're really excited to be able to present this prize to students this year. Colleen, if you go to the next slide, we're excited to hear any questions you may have about the prize. So feel free to unmute, turn your video on. And yeah, we'd love to answer your questions. Please introduce yourself with your name and anything you would like to share with us.
Hello.
Oh,
May I ask a couple of questions, basically?
yes.
First of all, this award is intended for graduate students?
Yes, that's correct.
Preferably, probably a PhD level, so they can, or master level. Do you guys have any preference?
No preference. No preference. Yes.
In fact, we talked yesterday about this to some extent, and the subject of postdocs came up. And so if they're still connected with the university, but they're at a postdoc level, that
Postdoc also.
we would also consider that, and a target of the prize.
Okay, great. Okay, the prize goes directly to each person or goes through university? If it's just an
goes
individual
directly.
prize, right? Okay, cool.
Yes, it goes directly to the individual.
Great, thanks.
Of course.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. This is exciting, and I think there's a lot of students that are excited by this. I had a question about the letters of recommendation. So I know that as ambassadors, do we provide the first letter of recommendation to have someone's candidacy sort of validated? And then I saw that there's 2 other letters of recommendation. Should those be different people, or could one of them be the original ambassador that's nominated the student?
One of them can be the original. Yeah. Sorry, Rachel. One of them can be the original. And again, the key, we expect the first one to be advocating for the candidate themselves. The second one, again, we would hope to be associated with the technical aspects or the meat of the issue, if you will, the context. And if there's a third one, that's even better. Again, whether that's aimed at the candidate or aimed at the particular proposal is up to the candidate, but it would be appreciated if we had third. But it's not required. Again, the point being that the first one can serve as one of the 2 that's submitted for the final application.
Okay, thanks. That clears that up.
Hi, I'm Danica Remy with B612 Foundation. I do want to just say, I think maybe, and we're all building this together right now, there might be a little bit of a nuance on that answer, which is that some of our universities, our ambassadors are kind of administrative liaisons and not of a discipline and a department. So some ambassadors will be working with department chairs or professors to submit it. But the actual ambassador, the ambassador role may not be the submitter at some universities. So it's just a nuance of how some schools work.
Mm-hmm. Bertrand, I know you had a question. You had your hands up earlier. Sorry.
I have 2 questions, very short. This is the first prize, the first time this prize is going to be awarded?
Yes.
Technically, these guys gave it to me this year.
Ah.
but
so
I'm out of ideas. So
yeah,
so
prize number 0. Prize number 0.
So there's definitely some bragging rights about getting this one, right?
Yeah. Right.
Good. Second one, on the list of prize examples, it spans quite a lot of things where there's an exception, there might be some evacuation, so it's very, very broad in terms of prize, in terms of scope of who would be interested to work on this project, but it's really broad. So what makes the difference between a person that is all about evacuation and somebody that is going to be just for interception or something like that? More orbital mechanics and more, and the opposite, more management or ground control and situation.
Yeah, Bertrand, that's you're right in the middle of one of the main reasons I'm so happy about this prize existing. And that is that while there are many, many technical challenges that have already been addressed and that are yet to be addressed in terms of planetary defense, the sort of hidden realm is the geopolitical, socio-political, legal, and all of these other components, because I don't want to get too technical, but let me just say the first probably many actual impact threats that emerge are going to be relatively small asteroids. They're the ones that are the most populous, and they're going to be the ones that present the first challenges. The ones that are just a little bit larger than those that the atmosphere protects us from by burning up From there up into, and that's about 20 meters in diameter, from there up to about 40 or 50 meters in diameter, that's where most of the asteroids that are going to be allowed to impact rather than be deflected. And the ones that are politically allowed to impact, because it's not cost effective to deflect them, are the ones that raise all of these questions about emergency preparedness, civil defense actions, insurance claims, liability, just the political decision making that says we should not deflect this one, for example. That's not a technical issue. That's a geopolitical issue. And those are the things that we took into the United Nations back in 2008 and 9, and have now created, actually resulted in the formation of a couple of organizations within the Outer Space Committee which deal with these things. But there are many, many, many legal and socio-political issues which arise as soon as you realize that part of planetary defense is going to be deciding to let something hit and evacuate rather than try to deflect it. So those, but as I said, or tried to say, there are the thing which illustrates that issue best, those issues best, is what we call the risk corridor, the line across the planet within which the corridor across the planet, which is very narrow, within which a particular asteroid that threatens an impact would hit. As soon as we can make that a regularly available bit of information, that stimulates thinking about all of these non-technical but very critical issues. But we're not going to really have that ready to help people think about it until next year. So that's the reason why this year, while if somebody comes up with a great idea along those lines in that field, and you may have some graduate students who are really interested in that, and they are certainly welcome to propose, and I hope they do. But we're going to emphasize that component of the overall planetary defense field a little more in future years than we're able to right now.
Very nice. So just to wrap this up, what would you expect of whoever the student is going to come up with the best idea for that? Would you expect that student to continue on that, or is it a one shot where this genius one student just come up with an idea and wins the prize and just walk away with that?
Well, the assumption is that a genius who comes up with a really innovative idea will want to actually implement it and get credit for more than just coming up with it. But yes, the idea, in fact, is to come up with concepts, proposals, ideas, which would, if worked on and developed, improve planetary defense capability. So in a sort of academic way, yes, somebody could come up with a fantastic idea, who's an artist, and walk away and do his artwork or her artwork. But, we assume that it will be someone who becomes, as they come up with a great idea, they're going to want to actually implement it. So that's the assumption in it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
just one last one, if you don't mind, just not just to wrap it up. Also, you said that you'd be more interested in giving the prize to a graduate student or even postdoc or somebody that is more advanced in the field. What if by putting this proposal out there, some undergraduates that are very motivated into that also come up with an idea like that? Because I teach orbital mechanics, and I have a few undergraduates that did much better than graduates. So how do you pitch that and say, hey, I have students that are very, very good, but they don't qualify because they are not graduate?
Personally, what I would recommend, Bertrand, I'd recommend that your really bright undergraduate student get a hold of a graduate student who could be a team leader.
Ooh, and team, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I take notes of that. Thank you.
I did want to comment a little bit about the the funding of this prize, because part of what we hope by doing a global communication campaign is that others might be able to come forward to help support, additional funding for the ideas that these students have, right? So this is about us as an organization shining a light on an exciting new idea in hopes that that idea has other legs. And so, kind of a stepping stone to, possible future funding or recognition. So it is very much our hope that it takes hold in the larger community with, sort of the seed funding for the idea.
And I guess I would supplement what Danica just said, which I totally agree with the other intention that people who would apply for this would become interested and make a career choice heading into planetary defense, which is one of the reasons why we want to have it in the university environment, hopefully before someone has committed to whatever they're going to do. I mean, God bless them for creating, for deciding what they want to do early. I never did that in my life, but but still, the idea of also incentivizing bright young people to go into the planetary defense field writ large, not only the technical, but the non-technical issues are very interesting as well. Law is one of the big slightly hidden areas of disciplinary areas that is very much involved in making a decision. The planet's going to make a decision at some point to do something. The planet doesn't make decisions easily.
And to that, I would highly recommend any of the students who are interested in applying for the prize to watch the TED presentation that Rusty did this spring, to kind of give a sense of why this is so important to him, and kind of what the challenge is and the opportunities. So I would encourage your students to watch the video also to really understand the basis.
Yeah, there's a link on the site to that. Yeah, that's one of the resources, and there's a lot of information buried in the URL, the list of URLs of people who have developed and what the status of planetary defense is. It's a big rabbit hole.
I wish I'd known about this when I was a graduate student.
You would have won the prize for sure, Bertrand.
Question.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Hello, Rusty. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
This is Halit from GUHAM, Gökmen Space and Aviation Training Center of Turkey. We are organizing tons of competitions and this kind of events, and we are really encouraging the teamwork. So we are mostly discussing like individual students to apply, but recently you mentioned that teams are also possible by considering the multidisciplinary approach, of course. Do we have any limitation with the number of people for a team?
So one of the limitation I would think would be that we would have just one person from the team apply on behalf of the team, and the amount of the prize is $10,000. So it just depends how the team wants to divide the prize afterwards, because we would leave it up to them, I think, is one of the limitations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, we need a single point of contact. We're a very small team. This is our first year, so having that single point of contact is a really important aspect of this for us to be able to sort of manage the logistics.
I think the only thing I would add would be that the team leader really should be, again, a graduate student or someone who fits within the eligibility criteria. But I think the team members, I mean, I don't think we don't care about eligibility other than the leadership of the team. If there are younger people who want to join that team, if that's the environment, for example, at GUHAM, which, by the way, for anybody who is headed for Turkey, that's a great place to spend a day or two trying, just looking at the whole museum that they have there. It's great. So yeah, I would say make the team leader attractive and form your own team, whatever it may be.
I have another question. Dan shares. So I've got sort of an interesting situation where I've got, I do research in the area of asteroids, and I've been involved with some planetary defense missions and the like. So I have some of my students that are, I think, are very interested in the prize and are natural candidates. So obviously I feel, I would love to write them a letter of recommendation and all that. I also realize I'm in a department where we have a lot of other students that may have great ideas, but I don't, interact with them. So as an ambassador, I would say my role should also be not just focused on my students, but also make sure that the award is publicized across the department. And if someone is interested in applying, I can still write them a letter saying, yes, they're in good standing, this and that, and have them join that process, even if I may not write them ultimately a detailed letter of recommendation. Is that a correct understanding of it all?
Yes.
Yeah, we mainly want to make sure that we're not getting pseudo students apply.
Right.
Okay.
Got it.
That's really what we're looking for in that first application. We want to make sure we don't award $10,000 to somebody who's a scam artist.
Okay. And yeah, so I would like to, and in fact, one of my students has already, he came to me, and I think I sent in a letter for him and all that. I'd like to, advertise it at some level within our department here. Do you have some specific promotional materials you think we should give people, or should I, just forward them to the website or something like that?
No, we have specific promotional materials that I'll send to you. We have a flyer, we have some template of emails that you can share with the applicants, and then we have some resources related to planetary defense, as Rusty mentioned. So I will make sure to send all of this to you, so it's easy for you to publicize.
Great.
And
Thanks.
the other thing is, if there are students that you do not have time to write a recommendation for, but other professors may write it for them, etc., they are welcome to use the form that we have on the website for students to pre-apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
go ahead,
I
Dan.
was just going to say the flyer that we've developed is the kind of flyer that you can pin up on bulletin boards around the school, intended to be also distributed in print as well as digitally.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So Dan, for example, if you got some, some friend in the law school, send it to them and they can broadcast it through the law school or whatever as well. And while I'm saying that, we also just want to make clear that that there's no citizenship or anything required. So as we go on, we're going to put more and more emphasis on ensuring that we have lots of ambassadors from overseas, from countries around the world, not just the US. And so even if you're in a US university, foreign students who are graduate students are perfectly eligible as well. So, I mean, this is a planetary issue, a planetary challenge, and it will end up being a planetary response. And so we really want to emphasize that this is not in any way localized.
Sounds perfect. Yeah.
You have to be human.
Yeah. Well, if you got a smart dog to apply, go ahead.
Or you don't want ChatGPT to apply, right? Hey.
There's no way to prevent it, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, any other questions? All right, talk other people into becoming ambassadors as well. We'll have more we'll have more Zooms to let people know what it's all about. Thanks a lot, guys.
Sounds great. Great seeing
Thank you so
everyone.
much, everyone.
Thank you,
And,
everyone.
You,
thanks
everyone.
thanks for doing this.